Okay, thank you. First of all, it's not the Renewed Hope Vanguard rally. It is what we call the New Associates.
New associates.
The New Associates is, of course, if I may complete it all the way, it's the New Associates for President Bola Ahmed TINUBU, 2027. Now, the New Associate is a political, grassroots-based political platform that has His Excellency Chief Dr. E.M. Wike CON as our grand patron. We are a group of politicians who believe in Wike's philosophy, political ideologies, political school of thought, and his way of life. And we have subscribed, as students of Wikeism, say that, look, this is an idol, a personality, a figure, a leader, a mentor that we have elected, to follow. And so the New Associates will be inaugurating her Bayelsa State chapter on the 26th. It was supposed to be on the 12th of April, but because we are combining that inauguration with a mega rally in solidarity with President Bola Ahmed TINUBU, who have done so much for us as a people of Bayelsa State, in terms of appointment and the dividends of democracy that we have experienced under his leadership. For instance, you know that very recently he appointed our own daughter, Dr. Didi Jack, as the head of service on the Federation. So we are a grateful people, and we are people who know how to give thanks and appreciation. Of course, the way to get more is to say thank you. And we have also looked at it carefully. A number of the appointees, particularly those who have distinguished themselves in service, who have taken the Renewed Hope agenda very close to our people, like the MD of NDDC, Dr. Sami Ogbuku, the Minister of State, Petroleum, and a whole lot of people. We also have Ganaba, the Security and Exchange, and too many. Niger Delta River Basin, the government will have, one of our leader also there. So, we believe that if we queue behind our leader, Nyesom Wike, who remember always sees tomorrow, we'll be able to consolidate the support for Mr. President, and by that we'll achieve, more for our people. Look at the East-West Road. It's only a blind person who will not appreciate the level of commitment and the level of work done under the Renewed Hope administration of President Bola Ahmed TINUBU. And that road, this West Road, is at the core of, the economic and socio-cultural well-being of the people of the Niger Delta. And so we are grateful. And that is why we are putting up that program on the 26th. You asked why the shift in date. You recall that a lot of solidarity and support groups showed up claiming to want to hold rallies for the governor of Bayelsa State, distinguished Senator Deji, His Excellency, and also former governor of Sokoto State, Aminu Waziri Tambuwa. And the irony is that they chose the same venue that we had opted, for our rallies. The same time, the same date. As a peaceful organization and one that is focused, with the right leadership, we felt it was important to allow these other groups to have a day, exhaust themselves with their rallies and their solidarity walks and all the support they needed to give to the governor of Bayelsa and whoever. Yeah, so we made that sacrifice. We did that with a lot of restraint on our part because obviously there would have been a clash, obviously. And we don't want that for our people. We respect life, we value life, we respect the peace that we enjoy in the Niger Delta, and we felt that no sacrifice was too much to make the line of peace. And so we made that concession. Of course, listening to counsel from a lot of leaders across the Niger Delta, particularly Bayelsa State. We had leaders of PANDEF, Dr. Godnos Bolare Gale, who spoke to us. We had the president of the Joy Youth Council, Jonathan Lokobiri, who spoke to us, and they were all in agreement that, look, you have your right to what you are doing, right to peaceful assembly, you have your right, constitutional right to freedom of association. But if some other group have, in clear case of troublemaking, come to say, look, they must do this on the same date and time and venue that you have chosen, you can allow for the sake of the governor. And of course, we have a lot of respect for the office of the governor, and it should rightly, be so. So we considered and asked them to go on with their program on the 12th. But sadly, Yenagwa was like a graveyard on the 12th. There was no rally, no solidarity walk, no march, nothing in support or solidarity with the governor or Tambwa. And it is my hope that 26th, of course, will come and we'll have a program.
Why does the Bayelsa state government don't want to stop the rally from holding?
Well, not even the devil can tell the intention of man. But sometimes from completed acts, you can infer. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they're afraid. If you have performed well, you need not to be afraid of a gathering of the people. People have their right to gather, converge, people have their right to form into associations and all of that. For whatever reason, perhaps the government is not comfortable. Maybe they feel that it will be a referendum on the government. I don't know, by the people. Well, a lot of people, I can assure you, have subscribed, to this mega rally in support of Mr. President and His Excellency Chief Dr. E.M. Wike, CON, and the new associate is also gaining ground, building capacity and gaining momentum every day in Bayelsa and of course elsewhere across the country. It's a nationwide organization, so I really may not be able to pinpoint where the issues lie with Bayelsa State government.
You're the PDP stalwart.
Yes.
And this is going across the carpets. Why? Is it not anti-party?
No. It's not anti-party. Look, first of all, there has to be a country, right, before you have a party. Now, in Nigeria, you must be sensitive as politicians. In 2015, the northern part of this country took control of the presidential powers, right? Under President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. And we gave support, Nigerian support. Look, it is always incumbent on us to support leadership. And that administration had a successful 8-year tenure of 2 terms. And except you're not sensitive to the politics and what makes us unique as a people, rightly, power should move to the south. Recall that it was actually northern governors at the time that led the campaign for the movement of presidential power from the north to the south. So PDP, for whatever reason, made a wrong calculation and took the party's ticket, presidential ticket, back to the north. You saw the result. Nigerians expressly, the ballot said no. this is not how we should go. We must have a south and a north, alternatively, sharing the presidential powers. That was a referendum. And if that is what the people have said, and this is 2027, President Tinubu are only coming in 2023, right? The Southern presidency should rightly extend to 2027, and then we complete the Southern presidency of 8 years, right? And then it moves back to the North. The danger is that in Nigeria politics, presidential powers are so tempting that when you have a fresh person go in, he wants to do a second term. And that will disorganize the power balancing and structural arrangement. Because people like us, if for instance we produce a certain president now away from Tinubu who want to come back for second term in 2030 whatever, we will oppose you, because the interest of this country is paramount. The peace, security and unity of this country is paramount. We will oppose you and insist that it goes back to the northern part of this country, and we'll canvass for a northern candidate. Now, to avoid all of these, troubles, when you smell trouble, you can avoid them, right? It doesn't take anything if we support the government of the day. After all, being in opposition party does not automatically license you to be an enemy of the other party. It's not enmity. Opposition is to push the person in power to deliver to the people. At all times, the interest of the people is paramount. So, opposition, you keep the person on the seat, keep him on the throne to ensure that dividends of democracy is delivered to the people. The greatest number of happiness, or the greatest number of people at all times, is the function of both the government in power and the opposition party. So it is in our interest. And is Tinubu performing? The answer is yes. Are we making headway as a country? The answer is yes. We might not be where we desire to be, but is there a movement? The answer is yes. President Tinubu have taken us several steps, close to destination. So why do you truncate? Why do you truncate? So why can't we as PDP be focused and say, look, gentlemen, let's use these 4 years to organize ourselves. Let's use these 4 years to build capacity. Let's use these 4 years to resolve our issues. Let's use these 4 years to look at possible presidential candidates from the other part of the country that can take up the challenge of governance, take up the challenge of delivering to the people. We must not, for the fun of producing presidential candidates, every 4 years you want to produce presidential candidates. That is not politics. It is not in the interest of the people. So, if Tinubu, by our indices, and it's my opinion, PDP at the right time will sit and will meet and will review the activities of the country under President Tinubu, how far we have made progress under President. If we have not, we will provide alternative. But if it is clear and obvious that we have made progress, I tell you, we will go with continuity and then prepare ourselves for the next cycle of elections. So for now, President Tinubu is the president of Nigeria, and he needs to be supported, including PDP playing responsible and responsive opposition to help President Tinubu to deliver. Opposition is not to help the man in charge to fail. It is to help him to deliver, because at all times it's the people that will either suffer or benefit. So if you help him to fail, it is the people that suffer. If you help him to deliver, it is the people that benefit. So at all times, the interest of the people is paramount. In any case, so you see, Nigeria, we must try as much as possible to avoid, laying wrong and bad precedents. So because if I do mean, for instance, that I hold a personal opinion that is anti-Yoruba, I should not go anywhere near Yoruba land, or nobody should do anything in support of me in Yoruba land. That cannot be the kind of Nigeria that we all want to have. Now, what remarks did Wike make against the judge? You see, a judge means truth. I have spoken in several fora to justify the statements made by Chief Dr. Wike. What did he say? He said, look, the first thing he said in that interview was that, look, I have said it that when the law speaks, Asawana will disappear. If we're a country that believes in the rule of law takes precedence over every other thing. So when the law speaks, every other power bows. That is obvious. You fault him on that. The second thing he said was that, look, in the Niger Delta, they just do not constitute a majority. I tell you for a free, the Ijaw is one of Nigeria's fourth largest ethnic nationalities. In the Niger Delta region, the Ijaw is the single biggest and the single largest ethnic group and ethnic nation in the Niger Delta. But when you put the rest of the other ethnic groups in the Niger Delta together on one hand, and you have the Jaws on the other hand, do the Jaws constitute a majority? They don't. It's obvious fact. And look, people should not present us a people as uneducated people or illiterate who cannot comprehend a simple, put together of words by Chief Dr. E.M. Wike. The man deliberately, and I picked that word, constitute. You don't constitute a majority when you put the rest, the BPO, the Queres, the so-called, the Robos, the Shekiris, and all of that, when you put them together on a scale, we the just do not constitute a majority. But we are the single biggest and largest ethnic nation in the Niger Delta. Now, the third thing that my leader said, Wike said, he said, with due respect, E.K. Clark, our late father, was not able to produce an Ijaw governor in Delta State. Now, is that a fact? If it's a fact, why quarrel with him? Ijaw means truth. E.K. Clark achieved so much, both for himself and for the Ijaw nation, and indeed the Niger Delta and Nigeria at large. E.K. Clark will remain an idol. But amongst the many achievements, laurels, and all of that that our Papa has taken to the grave, making an Ijaw man governor in Delta State is not one of them.
It should be something to be considered the next.
Exactly. Now, you can begin to have conversations around the fact that, look, E.K. Clark once upon a time gave so much to Delta State, to the Niger Delta, to Nigeria. Can we reward him with an Ijaw governor in honor of his memory? That is the kind of conversation that we should be pushing. And if you look at the political dynamics in Delta State, after the current governor now, because it's in Delta, by the senatorial district arrangement, the next governorship is going to a senatorial district occupied by the Shekiris, the Jaws, and the Sokos. The Shekiris had produced a governor in the person of Dr. Emmanuel Uduaghan. So we can have a conversation around the Jaws producing the next governor of Delta State. And rightly so, why not? We have the capacity. We have also followed, we have done well in followership, we have supported others. It is time to support us. And I stand here, I sit here as secretary of the PDP in South, right here at my office, to say that it is proper and just for the just to ask for the governorship of Delta State, right after the current administration. And they should be supported because they have supported others. And then the what was the other thing that Wike said? I think those are the facts. So from this analysis, where and how did Wike insult the Jaws? I remember people, it was so sad to see leaders of a Jaw nation, particularly the governor of Bayelsa State, with all due respect, play ethnic, bringing ethnicity into politics and whipping sentiment, ethnic sentiment, playing on the minds of our people to incite, that Wike has insulted the Jaw nation. That was on the least expected from the status of a governor in Nigeria, So I use this opportunity again to call on our people. that, look, Chief Wike is a friend of the Jaws. He has done so much for the Jaws. Probably even more than, apart from Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, who is living. It may be difficult to find any other person who has done so much for the Jaws like Dr. Wike has done. And our job people we should calm down. Politics is different from agitation. Politics is different from war. Politics is different from ethnic, consideration. Politics is politics. Look, for instance, in NDDC today, we have 2 Ijaw sons, MD and EDFA. If you try that, if it were Ikwere people, if it were Ikwere, the Wike supported Ikwere man to be MD, Ikwere man to be EDFA, we the Ijaws would have brought heaven to come down. But look at the rest of the ethnic nationalities in Niger Delta. They are supporting the MD and EDFA, giving them support to succeed. That is how it should be. We must imbibe an attitude of live and let's live. The Niger Delta belongs to all of us. No one hand can wash alone and be clean. You wash here, you wash here. Now, the final thing Wike said was that in the states where the Jaws found themselves, they are minorities of the minorities. How do you fault that? Remember that Wike was speaking, you have to appreciate the context on which Wike was speaking. Wike was not talking about landmass, population by ethnicity, or he was speaking purely on electoral issues. Purely on electoral issues. In Rivers State, the Jaws occupy 17.5% of the total voter register. To produce a governor, you need 51%. Right? Can the Jaws produce a governor on their own in Rivers State? The answer is no. Are they a majority in Rivers State by way of election? The answer is no. But the irony is that people don't understand. If you look at, for instance, the population of Obiakpo, electoral population of Obiakpo, in that population, you have the Jaws there. You have the Igbos there. You have the Robos. Everybody is a convergence because of the metropolitan nature of the city. Right? So, but that confers on the Obiakpo people advantage in terms of electoral population. You give it to them. In 2015, the entire vote that Bayelsa State brought was not up to 2 times put together the vote that Obiakpo brought. 800 and something thousand votes from Obiakpo. That is one local government of the Queries in Rivers State. So it is so, as it is in Rivers, that is how it is in Delta. In Delta, we occupy a senatorial district where we are a majority, clearly. The Jaws in Delta South, or we're a majority. We are not second fiddles. We dictate and we determine the politics of that senatorial district. And we are supportive. We support the Shekris, we support the Sokos. We had a senator from that district, that had, if he had wanted to remain in the Senate till now, he would have been there. But because of the just attitude of live and let's live, and somebody from another tribe is in the Senate now. So Ondo is the same thing. The Edo, the Mimas, the Jos in Edo, the same thing. We don't constitute a majority in terms of electoral population. You go to Ondo, they are Robos, the Jos. They are not a majority. You go to Akwa Ibom, they are not a majority. So where do you fault Wike in his, except that we want to play bad politics? Bad politics, and it's not good for our development. It is not.
The declaration of the state of emergency in your sister state, Rivers State.
Yeah.
Was that necessary?
Well, that will be gossip, and it will be cheap gossip to infer or to assume, to suspect that Wike and all that, Wike is responsible. No. Can we stay on the fact? What are the facts? Mr. President made a declaration. What are the content of that declaration? The man didn't put water in his mouth. Came out clearly. Gentlemen, fellow Nigerians, X, Y, Z. Can we fault any of the things he stated in his declaration? And remember, these are issues of serious national security. I will not even want to delve into it because the intelligence available to Mr. President, I don't have it. I don't have it. What if the declaration was not made? We got to a situation where we won't be sitting here. Now we are in Port Harcourt, in the zonal secretariat of the PDP South Zone. Assuming, who knows? Nobody says tomorrow. But intelligence available to Mr. President, sometimes shapes his decisions. I may not be, of course, even Chief Wike has said he's not happy with the declaration of emergency. Left to him alone, he would have even allowed the... no, but when you have an emergency, you suspend it. That is the meaning of emergency. That is the meaning. It's an unusual situation. It's an unusual situation. Anything emergency, if they say there is emergency here now, you won't bother to talk about this on camera. What matters to you is safety. And that is the proper interpretation and meaning of emergency. In an emergency situation, anything can, it's a no-fly zone. That is why, let me give you, recently there was protest in Lagos. People were protesting, saw the police guiding them. But in Rivers State, can't, because it's a state under emergency. So security is, there must be, the state must exist, that's the meaning. And Mr. President has constitutional powers to take measures necessary to keep the state and every part of Nigeria to exist.
Okay. Will Wike be at the rally on the 26th of this month? And in what capacity?
Well, that is up to him to decide if he will be at the rally or not. The rally is in solidarity with Mr. President and himself. We are celebrating them. If he chooses to be there, we will. We are ready and willing to receive him and accord him the hospitality of our people of Bayelsa State. We will roll out the drums and we will receive him. And let me tell you, if Chief Dr. Wike decides to go to Bayelsa today, you will be amazed at the reception and the turnout of the people of Bayelsa and the judges who will come out to receive him. And that is what they are afraid of. He is so loved, the support base is so massive. In Bayelsa State, I can tell you for free, if Wike makes an attempt to say it's going to Bayelsa State tomorrow, you will be amazed. And that is what they are fighting. That is what they don't want the world to see, because they have put so much propaganda out there. They have presented a scenario and a situation as if Wike is so hated, Wike is not welcome. That is not true. That is not true. The people love Wike so much. So much. The solidarity is massive. The followership is, it's so massive. And then if Wike says today that I'm going to Bayelsa, you'll be surprised. People will troop out on the highways, people just to have a glimpse of the man, So, on the 26th, it is his decision whether he will be there in person or not. All we know is that we are going to celebrate him and Mr. President. You see, rule of law is very important. Because we must, if we live in a state of might, where the strongest, gets his way, then we have a problem. People must learn to follow and abide by the rule of law. The constitutionalism, we are practicing a constitutional democracy, Nigeria. The second thing is that we must be a patient people. We must learn, to persevere. Change doesn't come easily. We must learn to support leadership and support systems. Except such leadership is not on the right track. Of course, we can't join the bad wagon and then go and crash. But once there's a clear headway, you see a light at the end of the tunnel, you give support. After all, as Christians, we're encouraged to pray for leaders. When Israel was involved in a war, they said Joshua should put the hand up as leader. When the hand is up, the people are winning. Once it comes down, the Israelites are being defeated. It goes up, the Israelites are winning. It comes down. So that is the practical demonstration of what leadership and followership. Nigeria must succeed when we as citizens learn to identify prospects in leadership and then support. Where there is no prosperity, gentlemen, please, you have nothing to offer. Can you step aside? So, and on the whole, we know that, look, we are not there yet. Nigeria is a work in progress. Are we happy where we are? No, certainly. Are we making some progress? Definitely yes. Can we get to our destination working together? Sure, we can. So I encourage Nigerians to be patient, to be supportive, and believing in God.